is Monday, April 27, 2020. We're doing our virtual work session. I'm opening it up to Mayor Craig Moore to open us up. So you want to say something? Let you say you want to say something about that before we All right. Okay, no problem. Resolution number 820, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland, to authorize the negotiation of the Verizon cable television franchise renewal jointly with the Prince George County government, other municipalities in Prince George County. Mr. Director Frost is going to speak on this, or Mr. Goddard going to speak on this?
This is Kevin. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you, sir. Can you hear us?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President, Mayor, council members. Good evening. Before you is a resolution to enter into a consortium negotiation with Prince George's County and other municipalities within Prince George's County for our Verizon franchise agreement. We're about a year out from that agreement. It will expire. It's about 15 years since we signed the original. And we've done the same thing with Comcast. The belief is, as a group, we get a better bargaining position. So by approving this resolution, we will officially enter the consortium, and we'll provide Verizon notification that is how we will begin the negotiation.
Thank you, Director Frost. Anything else you want to add to that before I open it up to the council?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Any council member want to speak on this resolution before we move on?
Mr. President, this is how we've approached the renewal of the cable franchises over the years, and it's turned out to be best because we're in a position of strength with the multiple jurisdictions that are involved. And so I'm fine with this.
Thank you, Councilman Lass. Okay, we're going to move this to our first public hearing at 6 p.m. That's going to be today. At April 27 at 6 p.m. We're going to move this to our first public hearing. Okay, moving on. A resolution number 1120, a resolution of the City of Laurel Council, a resolution number 1120, a resolution of the City of Laurel Council of Laurel, Maryland, to initiate a comprehensive citywide traffic and park analysis and to develop recommendations regarding those issues. Okay, I'll speak on this one. As for the record, Article 300 of the Laurel City Chapter, Section 316, provide for general powers of the City Council, including the following: to pass all such ordinance, resolution, and regulation as it may deem necessary for the protection of the city property, rights, and privileges, and for the protection and promotion of the health and safety and comfort and convenience and welfare and happiness of the residents of the visitors in the city. 44, parking facilities, to lease and regulate the parking lots and other facilities for off-street parking. And number 45, parking meters, to install parking meters on the street and public places in the city and to prescribe a rate for provisions for the use of. And Article 700 of the Laurel City Chapter, Section 711, provide for city control of the public ways, stating that the city has control of all public ways in the city, and the city may do whatever is deemed necessary to establish, operate, and maintain good condition of public ways of the city. And the City of Laurel have grown over the years, and this growth had included a number of new single families and multifamily residential developments, and surrounding jurisdictions have in recent years approved a number of new residential and commercial developments that have affected and are likely to increasingly affect the amount of flow of traffic going into and through the City of Laurel, and several large multifamily complexes in the city now require fees for parking, causing significant demand of parking on city streets. And large trucks are increasingly using parking spaces in the city not intended for their use, effectively reducing the amount of parking spaces intended for automobiles, and the adequacy and the convenience of parking in the city, as well as the ability of traffic to freely flow through the city and affecting not only the health and safety and welfare of the city residents, employers, employees, and visitors, but also the ability to promote economic development within the city. And the city council believes that these issues significantly impact the quality of life for the city residents and employers, employees, and visitors, and that is important to evaluate and suggest solutions to said issue. And the city council determined that a comprehensive study of the parking and traffic issues set forth above is necessary to properly address said issues, and that will require a professional traffic and parking analysis for the city to include recommendation for the possible mitigation of identified issues. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the city council is directing the administration to create a capital improvement project and a scope of work for hiring an individual group with expertise in the issues set forth herein, to analyze the city traffic and parking concerns, to suggest a recommendation of parking solution regarding said issues. All right, that was a mouthful. As you get the picture, council, that we had several citizens complaining about our parking issues in the city, and we think it's best for us to do an analysis to find out what's the best way to enforce this parking and make our residents happy and our visitors coming to the city happy as well. So entertaining suggestions from the council before we move forward.
I'd like to just make a comment. I know it's early, we're early into this resolution, but when the company is selected and the amount it's going to cost us, let us know right away.
Yes, we're going to put $75,000 towards this project. Anything above $75,000, we'll come back to the council to get approved. Most likely, hopefully, we'll get a vendor in the Maryland, state of Maryland, hopefully, if we can. You know, we probably always get 3 bids, hopefully, and we'll go with the best company that can provide this service.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the council? Okay, we're going to move this action for April 27th at 6 p.m. for the first public hearing. Okay. Moving on. Ordinance number 1954 and an ordinance of the general operation budget and capital improvement program of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, and to levy the property taxes to authorize collection of such taxes. I turn this over now to Deputy Director Luann Cook and Director of Budget Michelle Saylor. Council, please hold your questions until each presenter present all their the budget, and we'll ask some questions afterwards. Thank you. Open the floor to the following individuals. Okay. Deputy Administrator Cook, the mayor's going to make his comments about the budget during his presentation when he do the city roll call. Thank you.
Okay, so you're ready for me?
Yes, ma'am, we're ready.
Okay, thank you, and good evening, Mayor, President Sidnor, and City Council members. On behalf of Mayor Moe, I'd like to begin by thanking the city's Budget Committee. Michelle Saylor, Chief Financial Officer, Lisa Woods, Human Resources Officer, Sarah Green, Chief of Staff, Taylor Siebert, Fiscal Specialist 2, and our great support team of management staff for all of their hard work in preparing the fiscal year 2021 proposed budget. In summary, the budget includes funding for the Mayor's Office, community promotions, and City Council budgets to provide for the effective operation of these departments and the needs of our elected officials and continuation of legislative processes and governmental responsibilities. The City Administrator's Office provides support to the Mayor's Office and all city departments and provides oversight for the day-to-day operations of the city government. This office also administers the safety compliance, risk management, and wellness programs. The The Department of Communications and our Public Information Office will continue to produce current news stories, a variety of local human interest stories, and coverage of what's happening in city government over the city's Laurel TV station and our social media platforms. The department administers our very important volunteer program, provides passport services, and spreads the news about our city that keeps people engaged in the activities here. The Department of Information Technology has learned a lot and responded to the current pandemic situation by standing up, testing, and improving the telework capabilities. They consistently monitor the security of our network and provide customer service to the public and employees by the implementation of improved programs. They also oversee citywide telecommunications operations and the daily operation and maintenance of the network and computer systems used by city staff. The Department of Economic and Community Development will continue to provide permit review for zoning compliance, development, and historic preservation. They will administer and monitor economic development initiatives, grant programs, and updates to the Unified Land Development Code. Staff will continue to provide support to city businesses as impacts to our local economy are realized. The Office of the Fire Marshal and Permit Services will continue the enforcement of code compliance, property standards, rental licenses, and all categories of inspections relating to adherence to city codes. Our parks and recreation programs are funded with a plan of hope that the programs will continue, providing recreational opportunities for families and visitors alike. We will likely know more over the coming months just how we will be able to proceed with these programs, the rental of facilities, and city-sponsored community events. Our youth services, Laurel Helping Hands program, and senior programs, offered now in adherence to social distancing guidelines, will resume full operations as soon as it's allowed. The Parks and Recreation Facilities and Ground Maintenance Division will continue to provide maintenance of all our buildings and keep our parks and open spaces beautiful and ready to reopen whenever we may safely continue the leisurely use of our indoor and outside recreation and play areas. Our Public Works Department will continue to provide the basic services of refuse and recycling collection, maintenance of the city's fleet of vehicles and equipment, snow removal operations, the maintenance of public rights-of-way, trees, and public safety infrastructure. The expansion of the organic composting program is anticipated to further reduce the city's landfill waste, reduce costs for tipping fees, and continue our sustainability efforts. The Office of Emergency Management coordinates citywide emergency preparedness and response to incidents and events. This office coordinates the activities of the city's Emergency Operations Center and administers, revises, and tests the city's Continuity of Operations Plan, which the emergency manager has been doing nonstop for the past 2 months. The office also provides outreach and training opportunities for city staff and the public. The emergency manager works with the city's Emergency Services Commission to provide funds in support of contingent operations of various public safety agencies. Our full-service Laurel Police Department plans to continue and even enhance its mission and operations to provide the best in public safety and law enforcement responsibility and activities. Professionalism, community policing, and internal programs to maintain high-quality standards in departmental operations are the highest priorities, as well as the effective recruitment, retention, and training of our officers. And finally, our Department of Budget and Personnel Services, the financial infrastructure that keeps all this going, developing new efficiencies in sending the bills, paying the bills, processing the payroll and retirement benefits, and administering other employee benefits without missing a beat. The department monitors revenues and expenditures throughout the year and will provide necessary guidance for adjustments as needed. Since we had the opportunity for discussing the highlights and priorities of this budget during our briefings with each of you, I hope that this general summary of how this budget addresses the needs of our citizens and our staff is a good overview to assure you that this budget provides the framework for a successful fiscal year ahead. And with that, I will ask Ms. Saylor to provide her summary of the budget, the anticipated revenues, and the capital improvement program. Michelle?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As you're aware, the FY 2021 operating and capital budgets were presented to you in advance of the May 1st charter required deadline. The total balanced budget is $36,419,488. This is a 4.88% increase over the FY 2020 adopted budget. And as we discussed on Friday, the summary charts on pages 7 through 10 provide you with some of the breakdown of the budget, with the largest revenue category being in our local taxes, which is 2.02% higher than 2020. In our expenditure categories, the compensation, of course, is the largest expenditure item that the city has, and overall, that has increased by 2.95%. The largest department category, which is public safety, has increased in its area by 6.13%. So I hope you found those pie charts to be of use as you review the budget. The other newer chart that we provided this time is the distribution of the tax rate by expenditure category. Again, this shows that it takes 26.78 cents of the tax rate to complete the funding for public safety, for example. And it breaks down the others. This was done through taking the expenditure budget, deducting their direct revenue sources, and then applying the remaining balance of the expenditure budget to the tax rate. And so that's how we arrived at those numbers in the chart on page 8. This budget includes that the tax rate would be 71 cents for real property, $1.69 per $100 of assessed value for personal property tax, which is the business tax, and an additional 3 cents on the real estate tax for our transit overlay area, which is in the commercial zone. The taxes were calculated based on an assessable base this year of $3,201,683,099. This is an increase of 3.23% over the FY 20 assessable base. As we went back to the drawing board on this budget, on the preparation, we were well into the process before the pandemic really took its effects, and we needed to go back to the revenues that we share with the state and county governments, and the grants that we receive from them. So overall, we're projecting a 29% decrease in the state shared funds. And this is because, for example, the local income tax that we receive for the residents of the city limits, those deadlines have been extended, and while they've been extended into July, since we're still in the middle of this situation, we don't know that that date will actually hold. Also, we get admissions and amusement taxes, the largest portion of which is from the movie theaters, which have now been closed for several weeks. And again, not knowing exactly when those will come back online. Hotel motel tax, again, not sure when people will really be able to or feel the safety and comfort of traveling for us to realize our hotel motel tax revenue that we receive from the state. So those were the things that we had to take into consideration as we retooled the budget. Many of the revenues, though, have corresponding expenditures, so there's a built-in offset for those, and that's something that we will just need to obviously carefully monitor these items throughout the year with the departments that are involved in these revenues. So that is the portion that I had basically about the summary and the revenues of the budget. I just wanted to note that the non-departmental expenditure section of the budget, again, provides for debt service for our existing debt with 2 of our bank loans coming due in the early part of calendar 2021, and we'll need to refinance those. We're providing for the full, actually, a pension contribution that's greater than the actuary's recommendation by $83,000. We're also providing employee training for both employee development as well as required certifications. And we have employee tuition reimbursements for 16 city employees that requested it. And the non-departmental section of the budget also includes the property and liability insurances as well as employee insurances. As we discussed the CIP program and the summaries that you were given, our request for reauthorization of funds that were approved in FY 2020 budget process as well as prior years will allow the continuation of the IT, street infrastructure, and park improvement projects. The approval of the FY 2021 funding request will allow these projects to start and/or will add to existing funding to further these efforts. And that is the conclusion of my presentation for the evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Director Saylor and Deputy Administrator Cook. Open it up to the council, starting with Council Member Nicholas. Any questions for administration?
I don't have any questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilmember Smith.
No questions.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Lass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Ms. Crook and Ms. Saylor for a job well done. This is a difficult budget. I want to thank them also for the briefing that they gave the council members individually. Especially since looking at a statement from Council Chair Todd Turner from County Council, they're going to start their deliberations tomorrow. But he's indicating that the county exec's proposal is for a budget that anticipates $135 million drop in county revenues. I've been watching what the governor has been saying, and there's going to be a substantial decrease in revenues to the state. And since we exist in a dribble-down society at the municipal level, we're going to have to, they say, suck it in because we're not going to see it from the state and county. So I anticipate that, has been pointed out by Ms. Crook and Ms. Saylor, there will probably be substantial budget revisions as we move through the year. I want to thank the mayor for following through on a discussion we had about 20 years ago, which is the increased contribution of the city to the pension plan over and above the recommended by the consultant to ensure that the retirees get what they've contracted for in their contracts for the pension plan. That concludes my report, Marks.
Thank you, Councilman Blas. Councilman DeWalt, any questions?
Yes, just one question for Michelle. Michelle, the tax rate is going to stay the same as last year at 71 cents per 100. Is that correct? Yes. Because of the assessment going up from the county on our homes and stuff, that still will put increase in the taxes that we actually pay and collect from each resident. I understand that. Because the assessments are higher, the 0.71 per 100 citizens are actually going to be paying a little bit more in tax as a result.
I'm sorry, Mr. DeWalt, I can hardly hear you.
The 0.71 cents per 100, that's the same as last year. Although our assessments have gone up, that still means that the citizens will actually still be paying a little bit more in taxes. Is that correct?
Yes, there is a direct correlation between the assessments and the tax rate. So while we are not increasing our rate, it is possible that if a property owner's assessment has increased, that the taxes increase, yes.
Now, are we able to figure that out exactly how much more we will be collecting in taxes due to the assessments going up from last year?
I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing you.
Since we will
There you
be
go.
increasing because of our assessments going up, we're going to be collecting more from each taxpayer. Do we have a way of calculating how much more in tax money we will be collecting this year than last fiscal year?
I have that number.
Ms. Saylor, I think the question Councilman DeWalt is trying to ask you, he having a hard time hearing them though, but we'll probably email that question to you, and if you can get back with us.
Yeah.
The
About
mayor
$1
says
million.
about $1 million.
Okay.
Okay. So the
About $1
answer
million.
is it's going to be very.
Overall, the tax revenue is $677,434 more than FY20. But that's not to say that every property assessment has gone up.
I understand that. Okay.
I don't have the breakdown with me, but we can request a report that will show the breakdown of where the increases are between commercial and residential properties.
No, I just was interested in the total that we're total more in taxes we were getting this year than last year. That's all.
Okay, yes,
Thank you.
right. So the real estate tax increase, like I said, is $677,434. But when you look at the overall budget, the state shared taxes, the money we get from the state, we're projecting will go down by over $1,165,000.
Okay, thank you. Any further
You're
questions,
welcome.
Councilman DeWalt? Okay, thank you, Councilman DeWalt. I want to, once again, I thank the Deputy Administrator, Ms. Crook, and Director Saylor presenting the budget to us. As you know, the budget's supposed to be presented to the council by May the 1st, but the mayor wanted the council to act on the budget early. And by them presenting us the budget, we got an opportunity to review the budget And the questions I had, me and the mayor sat down where we actually called each other, and a lot of questions was answered in. So my questions have been answered. So I'll just turn it over to the mayor before we move on to the next section. You fine? Okay, no problem. All right, since the council is fine on this right here, we're going to open this. We're going to put this on our first public hearing for April the 27th at 6 p.m. We're going to go straight for the Laurel TV communication department. We're going to go straight into our council meeting. So the work session is now adjourned. Call to order Monday, April 27, 2020. The 8th meeting of the Mayor and City Council Laurel is now in session. A virtual meeting is that. So, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Ms. Nicholas?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. DeWalt?
Here.
Mr. Les?
Here.
President Sidnor?
Here.
Mayor Mo?
At this time, we have the Mayor Mo lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we'll do a report of the City Council. I'll start off first. I want to pay my condolences to the members, to family who lost of loved ones during this pandemic to COVID-19. Also want to continue to pray for our scientists and our researchers. We continue to work on a vaccine to deal with this novel coronavirus. It's very important that we help them out as much as we possibly can. And also I want to say to our community to stay encouraged through this difficult time. Be smart. Think before you act. Look at the risk versus rewards. But most importantly, I want to thank our first responders who are on the front line working for us during this pandemic. I want to thank our truck drivers for delivering supplies to our stores, our hospitals, our police departments, our grocery store workers for working every day, providing us food, our delivery personnel, United States Postal Service, United States Post Office, FedEx, Amazon, and etc. I also want to thank our Department of Public Works. They get no credit at all for keeping our city clean, picking up our waste and our recycled material every day. Of course, we want to thank our police, law enforcement, our fire department, of course, EMTs, the nurses, the doctors, healthcare workers, all those individuals who are out there every day risking their lives so we can be safe and get through this pandemic. So once again, please stay encouraged and be smart. I'll move on to Councilmember Nicholas.
Thank you. I echo what our council president said, but I also like to add in our gas station attendants, our grocery store attendants, our bank attendants, and everybody else that's on the front line, making sure that we, get what we need from the stores, the pharmacists that are at CVS, our healthcare workers, our hats are off to them. We will continue to pray that, we get through this pandemic. There's a lot of people that I know that have relatives that have lost their lives back to back. So I ask everybody to continue to, follow the local and state precautions. I think I want to commend Governor Hogan. I want to commend our mayor and my city council colleagues, the city administrator as well, for just their leadership in how they have handled the city staff and having, people to work from home, with our command center, Steve Allen. I just think, we've just really pulled together and really done a great job. But I just ask everybody to please stay strong, stay home so we can stay alive, keep those masks on, continue to use those hand sanitizers, wear your gloves, and just do as we're led to do with the state precautions and things. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Nicholas. Councilmember Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to echo the President and also Councilmember Valerie Nichols. I'm praying for all the families that have been affected. And I'm also encouraging everyone to stay safe, stay in. And I also want to commend our essential workers and our mayor, our governor, and my colleagues here on the council for doing a great job as we can to help keep our city informed and safe. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Lass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was very saddened when informed that of the passing of former city administrator Ernest Zacchinelli. Zach, to friends, he assisted me when Mayor Kasula died during the time I was mayor, and he assisted in the transition to the administration of Mayor Moe. I want to thank our men and women of our police department, Laurel Police Department. They're out there every day making sure that we're in a safe environment for our citizens. And I want to thank the men and women of the various departments in the city that continue to do their job day in and day out. If you see a problem, use the My Laurel app, report it, and somebody will jump on the problem. On a happier note, congratulations to St. Vincent Pallotti High School family on the recent success of a former student, Chase Young. Chase was selected in the first round, second selection by the Washington Redskins. Chase attended Pallotti as a freshman and sophomore, and then transferred to DeMatha for his junior and senior years. After receiving 38 college offers, he ultimately selected Ohio State. He was also a Heisman Trophy finalist. Congratulations to Chase Young, new defensive end for the Washington Redskins. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Lass. Councilman DeWalt.
Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to echo my colleagues. Thanks to all the first responders, the police, the fire, and the rescue squad, to all the Laurel citizens who have bravely abide by all the rules instituted by Governor Hogan and Mayor Moe and the City Council, and to all our small business owners. If you have the time and you're able to visit them for their takeouts, please go to our small businesses, because they're the ones that's hurting the worst. And I know the first round of stimulus checks never even made it to these small businesses, and apparently these ones possibly can make it to them. But I know they're hurting, so please, if you have the time and you have the resources to go to our small businesses and make sure that you participate and help them out a little bit. And thank you again.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Mayor Moe.
Thank you, Mr. President. We apologize, but I'm getting some text messages where people couldn't hear the microphone on the table, so we're improvising here, Carl and I, tonight, so bear with us. I do want to acknowledge to the friends and family of our former city administrator, Ernest Zacchinelli, the passing of Mr. Zacchinelli. We did lower the flags in his honor, Mr. President, and We wish him and his friends, wish his family and his friends condolences, as well as the city family here. A speedy recovery to Robert Bain, who's a dispatcher at the Laurel Police Department. I want to wish him the very best, a speedy recovery. We did hold the Red Cross drive here on April the 9th. It was a good turnout. The next is on May the 7th. I'm told there's already 50-some people signed up, so that's full and ready to go. I did attend the governor's press conference at the University of Maryland Medical Center, Laurel Hospital, and they're reopening. I have had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Hall on how things were going. Saturday, they had the Towing Association, Maryland Towing Association, put on a parade where police, fire, rescue, and others, tow truck drivers, went around the Laurel Hospital to provide and to say thank you to the healthcare workers there. And I was happy to take the time to be there and appreciate them letting me know about it as well. The Patrice King Brickman Family Foundation donated to the Laurel Police Department produce from their Produce Alliance Foundation, produce to the police officers and their families, and what was left over, I'm told they took to either Elizabeth House or they took to Lars. So I want to thank them and acknowledge them as well. A lot of people, a lot of businesses have been coming out working and helping police department as well as police, fire, and rescue. I know the rescue squad have gotten things from individuals. We thank them for that. Also over the weekend, the Knights of Columbus, Council 2203, held a food distribution program there at the Keesler Center. I was happy to go. I didn't know about it. I want to thank Steve Hubbard for that, and we hope to partner with them as well as in the city. It's been passed on to Steve Allen, our emergency manager, to work with their group as well. So I want to thank them, and I think they did roughly about 60 families. So it was important, and I was glad I was able to say thank you on behalf of the mayor and city council. The city also has partnered on our food distribution with Lars, Elizabeth House, St. Mary's of the Mills, and the Islamic Community Center. So I want to thank Steve Allen for working with those organizations to put things together. You can check out and get more information on our website. If you go to cityoflaw.org, that information will be there. And like you, Mr. President, I do want to acknowledge and thank all of our first responder, our essential personnel, police, fire, rescue, and as you said, many, many others that continue to make sure that the community at large is being taken care of. There's way too many to really bring them all out, but we do want to thank and acknowledge all of them. Most importantly, I want to take the opportunity to thank the Laurel community for all that they've done, their volunteerism, working with and following the governor's procedures, executive orders, as well as the executives and mine here for the city. We know it's not been easy. We know it can be draining, but hang in there. The more that we can flatten this, the better it's going to be. The city of Laurel and the area that we are in, the National Capital Region, I think it's fair to say we have not seen our peak as of yet. So we must continue to do what's right and what's good for the community and everybody as a whole. So I encourage everyone to follow the guidance from the CDC, the state and the county health departments, including our own health officer here. Lastly, I want to acknowledge World Central Kitchen, as well as Councilman Denoga. They are providing free meals until the Governor Hogan lifts his stay-at-home order. Meals can be gotten from 2 to 3:30 at Dwight D. Eisenhower Middle School. If you have questions, you can contact Councilman Denoga's office at 301-952-3887, 301-952-3887. And again, the city's hotlines for seniors, Spanish, our EOC, and our business community hotline is still up and running and answered. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to transition to item number 3, the public hearing. I opened the public hearing at 6:24, As you know, this is a virtual meeting, so we don't have anyone in attending the meeting, but if you want to call and speak on the record, the number is 240-294-1308. Once again, that number is 240-294-1308. Madam Clerk, I know that you said if anybody want to send an email. Do you have any emails, Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, there are no emails. We did have a gentleman call, and he will be calling back during the budget public hearing.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Once again, that number is 240-294-1308. If anybody wants to comment on the public hearing, it's open. No phone calls? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:25. Moving on to item number, a motion to ratify Executive Orders 2020-07, 2020-09, 2020-10, 2020-11, and 2020-13 issued by Mayor Craig A. Moe. Can I have Madam Clerk and the Mayor, do you want to speak on this item? Okay. Okay, any questions on these? Okay.
Mr. President, I'll move that we ratify Executive Orders number 2020-07, 2020-09, 2020-10, 2020-11, and 2013 issued by Mayor Craig A. Moe.
Thank you, Mr. Last. Can I have a second? Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Mr. Les?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt? Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
President Sidnor?
Yes. You're welcome, Mr. Mayor. Okay, and going down to, on the agenda, on item number B, introduction of the first public hearing, ordinance number 1954, and ordinance adopting the general operation budget and capital improvement program of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland, the fiscal year of July 1st, 2020 through June the 30th, 2021, and to levy the property taxes and authorize collection of such taxes. I read the title on the record for the first hearing, and before Ms. Saylor, Director, you want to add anything? Director Saylor, are you still with us?
I'm still here. Sorry, Mr. President. Yes, so ordinance 1954 would establish a balanced budget of $36,419,488. Revenues and expenditures are balanced. The tax rate would be 71 cents per hundred on real estate tax, an additional 3 cents per hundred in the transit overlay area, and $1.69 per hundred for business personal property tax. It would also reauthorize CIP funding in the amount of $10,335,343 and establish FY 2021 funding of CIP projects in the amount of $4,457,738. That's all I have for the record, Mr. President.
Thank you, Director. Mr. Mayor, the Mayor's going to speak on the budget before we open it up.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the City Council. To save time tonight, I'm not going to read the entire budget letter, but I encourage you to take some time, and if you haven't already, read the full budget letter to each of you and to the Laurel community. I want to thank Ms. Crook and Ms. Saylor for working with you all to set up individual meetings last week, as well as the overview by them this evening. As we proceed through the FY 21 budget and CIP, we find ourselves in uncertain times. Amendments to this budget are likely throughout the coming year. I believe that we will be in this dilemma for the next two budget cycles. And tough decisions will have to be made. But I know when we all come together and work together, we can get this done. The FY 2021 proposed budget provides a commitment to our residents and our business owners that the city is open for business and that we will run government efficiently and work hard to provide the same level of service they are accustomed to and deserving of. Laurel City Administrator William Goddard is working on Laurel's plan to bring back staff, open facilities, restart programs and events, but this will only be done when Laurel meets the appropriate building blocks as outlined in Governor Hogan's Maryland Strong Roadmap to Recovery. There is no tax rate increase proposed this year. The proposed budget continues our commitment to our city employees through the continuation of our pay plan for the city and for the FOP collective bargaining agreement. Contributions to the pension plan, health insurance plans, and for training and tuition requests as well have been continued. It provides for technology, equipment, and resources employees need to do their jobs. Unfortunately, no employees are funded in this year's budget. As much as I wanted to move towards a position for the sustainability coordinator, we just cannot afford to do it this year. This budget and the CIP are based on what the administration believes is the best use of our tax dollars for the next fiscal year. Again, I want to thank you, Mr. President, for working with us, being there the entire time. I want to thank council members for their input, for their questions, their concerns. But most importantly, I want to continue to thank our city employees, our city administrator, Bill Goddard, our deputy city administrator, Lou Ann Crook, and our budget team led by Ms. Michelle Saylor and her team, who've done a very outstanding job for these tough times that are ahead. But I believe that as we continue to talk, we continue to work together, and we listen to each other, we can get through this. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, open up the public hearing at 6:31. Once again, if you want to speak on this hearing, this number is 240-294-1308. I'll repeat that number again, 240-294-1308. The public hearing is open to speak on the budget. Once again, 240-294-1308, 240-294-1308. Got any emails? Okay. Right. Got you. Okay. We're going to close the public hearing on this item at 6:32. But if someone wants to call in to speak on the budget, I'll open it back up for that caller to speak on the budget. So the next possible action. Stand by. Stand by. Okay. The call is getting ready. I'm going to reopen the hearing at 6:33 p.m. on the budget.
Okay, sir, go ahead and give us your name and your question.
Hello, my name is Brian Coyle. Am I being broadcast now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Brian Coyle. I'm a co-chair of Laurel for the Protection Incorporated, a community-based environmental sustainability organization in Laurel that's partnering with the city and other community organizations and businesses and people across the city to advance meaningful change for environmental health and public well-being. Just wanted to start this call by acknowledging the excellent response of the city government to the COVID-19 pandemic. We're fortunate to have such well-organized and skilled leadership and workforce. Tonight, I'm speaking on behalf of Laurel for the Protection. to urge the council to fund the creation of a sustainability coordinator position in the FY21 budget. We'd like to commend the mayor for recognizing the importance and value of this position and for highlighting sustainability initiatives are saving money for the city of Laurel and have an economic benefit. Moreover, we'd like to commend the mayor's leadership on many sustainability initiatives in Laurel and our status as a sustainable community. We're proud of these efforts. They enhance the quality of life in our city. They create pride in our community, and Laurel for the Patuxent is motivated to build on them to become a national leader in sustainability. We recognize and understand that the COVID-19 crisis, of course, has had significant unexpected impacts on the city budget and planning. However, we still believe that the creation of a sustainability coordinator in FY21 is necessary. And moreover, we're confident that this position would also have large economic benefits for the city and its residents. This would not be a cost; it would be an investment, and it would have have economic benefits. One of the most important lessons that we've learned from the COVID-19 pandemic is that we must respond early and aggressively to a crisis. Think about what would have happened if we waited just one more month, or even just 1 week, to enact social distancing and other measures to control the spread of the virus. The consequences, in terms of mortality, jobs lost, shelter-in-place duration, economic impact, would have been much, much worse. And sadly, we must acknowledge that if our society had acted sooner in response to COVID-19, we would have saved thousands of lives. Many loved ones would be alive today, and potentially trillions of dollars in untold hardship for families across the country and the planet. That is a lesson that we have to learn. We believe that we must apply this lesson to the climate and environmental crisis. This is a crisis that is orders of magnitude more significant to human health, society at large, and the planet than COVID-19. It's been going on for over 50 years. We cannot delay action for another year. We must remember that every day that we delay action places more of the burden on our children. Those who have contributed the least to climate change will suffer the most. In the past few months, we've asked young people to stay indoors and practice quarantine to protect vulnerable older generations. Now we must do our part, take immediate and aggressive action, protect young people from a bleak and tragic future that we have contributed to. They are innocent in this, and we can't keep putting the burden on them. We don't know when the COVID-19 crisis will end, and we can't predict when the next crisis will emerge. But if we don't do anything, or if we keep saying that we don't have the funding for it, this could continue to go on. So we must act now. It's also true that there would be tremendous economic benefit to having a sustainability coordinator who can act on meaningful change and act aggressively to initiate a sustainability agenda, because we know that communities everywhere benefit from the marketing that they can do around communities that care, communities that are proactive, communities that are clean and green. It attracts a lot more business to Main Street, and we may need that in the aftermath of COVID. It also builds community pride. And in doing so, that builds property values. And all of these things contribute to a better sense of community, more livability, and they enhance the quality of life. So it's really a win-win situation. And if we have the right person selected for the sustainability coordinator, I'm sure that Laurel for the Patuxent would be able to help to find such a person. You can get someone who has the connections, has the network, has the skills and the talent to be able to bring in lots of funding so that the money that is spent on hiring that person would actually be doubled, tripled, or more in terms of money that we're able to bring in externally, not tax money, but bring in through grants, through foundations, through private funding to support our vision of one of the most sustainable communities in the country that would also lead, as an example, to other countries, other communities across the country. So I think that concludes what we want to say. We just hope that you'll take this under consideration and please consider the arguments made here. We look forward to continuing working with the city as a partner. We see our efforts at Laurel for the Patuxent efforts to enhance the environment, to advance sustainability, to enhance the quality of life in Laurel as a mission that we do in partnership with the city and with all other community organizations. And so we look forward to continuing that work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kole, for your testimony, and we thank you for you and your work and your committee for providing services for our environment in the city of Laurel. We noticed that. We appreciate your dedication. But we're gonna have to get back with you. We'll send you a letter or something once we talk to the administration and the council have any input on that. But so thank you for your service to our city. Okay, anybody else want to speak on the public record? The number is 240-294-1308. I close the public hearing at 6:39 on the operation budget. And going on to item number C on our agenda, the introduction of the first public hearing of resolution number 8-20, a resolution of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland, to authorize the negotiation of the Verizon cable television franchise renewal jointly with the Prince George County government and other municipalities in Prince George County. Director of IT, are you still there?
Thank you, Mr. President. Resolution 8-20 will authorize the mayor and city council to work with Prince George's County and the other municipalities to form a consortium in order to negotiate from a better position our franchise renegotiation renewal that will occur about a year out. That negotiation normally would probably start in the next month or two. With the virus, we're going to see what the impact of that is. It is still very likely that that franchise agreement, which has currently been in place for the last 15 years, will be extended until we can come to an agreement. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Director Frost. Open a public hearing at 6:41 to speak on resolution number 820. The number to call in once again is 240-294-1308. Once again, 240-294-1308 to speak on resolution number 8-20. The number to call in is 240-294-1308. Madam Clerk, do we have any emails on this resolution?
Mr. President, no, we do not.
Okay. Any calls? I close the public hearing at 6:42. Council, I make a motion to suspend the rules for this resolution number 8-20.
I'll second that.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Lass. Madam Clerk, can we call for a vote?
President Sidnor?
Yes.
Mr. Lez?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 8-20, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council, Laurel, Maryland, to authorize negotiations of the Verizon cable television franchise renewal jointly with Prince George's County government and other municipalities in Prince George's County.
Thank you, Councilman Lass. That's called leadership right there, helping me out. Appreciate that. Anyone to second that? Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Mr. Lez?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt?
Yes.
President Sidnor?
Yes.
Mayor Mo?
Okay, moving on to item number D on the agenda. Introduction of first public hearing of resolution number 1120, a resolution of the City Council of Laurel, Maryland, to initiate a comprehensive citywide traffic and parking analysis and develop a recommendation regarding those issues. City Administrator Goddard, you want to speak on anything?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, I do. This has certainly been an issue that absorbs an awful lot of the administration's time individually as we confront parking issues and speed issues all across the city. Not a day goes by that we're not receiving phone calls about independent issues related to both the parking and the speeding. It's almost like we're putting our finger in the dike every time we turn around. And thanks to your leadership, the city is now going to be able to take a very comprehensive and strategic look at what is a very significant issue, as was mentioned at the work session. Tremendous growth that's occurring not only in the city but around the city. Families that are moving into the homes have more vehicles that are parking at home. Children are staying at home longer, which means there's more vehicles in each residence. But the time is long overdue. It's long overdue to really take a look at this from a citywide, comprehensive perspective. It is going to go so far to help us as we take a look at the future, as we work with the developers in the future as to what the requirements will be for a lot of the parking issues. So once again, I want to thank you for your leadership on bringing this issue forward, and I look forward to working with you.
Likewise, City Administrator, God, appreciate your help as well. Before we open this to the public hearing, any council members want to speak on any issues on, I forgot to ask you guys a question on sustainability officer, but you can speak on that if you want to. Like I said, told Mr. Coyer, we'll send him a letter stating why, whatever we decide to do.
Mr. President, for resolution number 11-20, I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor.
Yes, ma'am. Let the record reflect that Council Member Valerie Nicholas will be a co-sponsor on resolution number 1120. The public hearing at 6:46. Anyone want to call in and speak on resolution number 1120? The number is 240-294-1308. Once again, that's 240-294-1308. (240-294-1308). Anybody want to comment on anything on the public comment on any resolution that we talked about so far? Okay, I close the public hearing okay, I got a phone call coming in. A phone call, okay. As I were. I close the public hearing at 6:46. Okay, and I make a motion to suspend the rules on resolution number 1120.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember Lash. Madam Clerk?
President Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. Les,
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas, Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Going to sustain the vote and I'll comment.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember DeWalt. Okay, okay. Make a motion to adopt resolution number 1120. Anybody want to second? Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Madam Clerk?
President Sidnor,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Nicholas,
Yes.
Mr. DeWalt,
Before I vote, could I make a comment?
Yes, you can, sir.
Do we have a parking and traffic problem? Yes, it's gotten to the point where parts of our city, the traffic is backed up everywhere. I'm more in tune to being proactive than reactive. This is going to be a reactive, knee-jerk resolution on something that we're going to at least spend $75,000 on to try to figure out the traffic and doing a parking analysis. We have had so much construction and redevelopment, and at every one of these construction and redevelopment hearings, the first thing they do is the developer hires a traffic analysis of what the traffic is going to impose on the city of Laurel. and they pay these people, and I hate to joke about it, but they pay them a lot of money and they put a bunch of information into a computer, not taking any human opinion on traffic, and they put it in the computer and they show us these models of these dots going down the highway and says everything's perfectly clear, with 1,300 more cars coming into Patuxent Greens. Drive through Old Laurel, you'll see a house going on vacant lots everywhere around the city. Just recently, 707 Park Avenue, right where they're redoing those that apartment complex, right next to it is a small plot of land. I thought, boy, that would be really nice for those people in that apartment to have a little area there with grass and everything. That's now dug up into a big hole, and they're putting a single-family home. I mean, what do we expect when we continually put more and more development into our city? The first thing that you're going to have is an increase on traffic. We're also looking at Laurel Garden Apartments, where we're looking at giving back Park Avenue, which we gave to the developer, to get more parking there, and we're looking to take that back because of all the traffic and parking issues surrounding that development there. It's just, the first thing when you have development is you're going to have parking issues. And what happens after that? You're going to have traffic issues. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until we do some type of moratorium or something to slow down the construction in our city. And look it out on Conti Road. If you haven't been out there in Conterra Drive, look at the development that's going out there. 200-300 apartment complexes, townhouses, they're going everywhere. That's just, and the good part about that is it's a little bit away from us, so we're not seeing it as effective as everything in Old Town Laurel. Therefore, this resolution, I think, could have been proactive a long time ago if we looked at the construction and the development going around in our city and started keeping, instead of putting asphalt and homes and concrete into some of these, in some of these areas, we kept them as open green spaces, and I don't think we'd have that problem right now. Therefore, although we have a problem, I'm still going to vote no.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Councilman Lass. Your vote.
Mr. Laz?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
Mayor
Madam.
Mo?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to thank you for your leadership in putting this together. We're going to agree to disagree. I think this is a proactive, and I think that what happens when we talk about a comprehensive citywide is part of the city's problem is we have state, county roads that go in and out of the city, and we really need to bring all of that together. We need to look at what's happening in and around the city when we talk about a comprehensive study. And then I also know, Mr. President, you have talked about a lot of this. I think people are coming home and they're parking their big trucks on the street. There's issues there. But I think this can be all looked at. We will try, I don't think so, if when it passes tonight, since I concur, we may be able to take and put something in the scope of work just to get this going. I just want to make sure everybody understands the $75,000, we took that out of the resolution, I think if you remember, and it talks about getting this into the capital improvement program. Because again, we're not sure where we're going to be in the next year or so. So we took that out, but we're prepared to work with you. We appreciate it. And I think this is something that is needed. So I'll concur. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anything else need to be brought before the council? Okay, meeting adjourned.